Okay, I believe we're live, Will. How are you? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Vaughn. Yeah, it's good to be back. Good to be live here on LinkedIn promoting the Leadership Canvas cohort for 2025.
I know. I'm excited to do. I took a bit of a break from promoting this clearly during the holidays. And now we're back, and I kind of like it because I'm so passionate about this project. I know you are too. So, for those of you who are joining us or listening later, Leadership Canvas Cohort is an 8-week live online program to develop current and aspiring leaders. And it's based on the work we've been doing in companies for the last several years. So Leadership Canvas Cohort or Leadership Canvas is basically Work Smart Advantage's signature leadership development program. And we can come out to companies, do one course. We prefer to do this idea of a long-term learning. So up to like a year or even 2 years, and just really trickling in these leadership development, what we call building blocks. So really what we're trying to do is take an organization and develop their leadership pipeline from the bottom up. And we see a lot of success with it. So this session today, who knows how long we're going to go? I was like, let's just get on and talk. So,
Yeah.
so we're going to just talk to you about this program. It's giving you an overview of the program to see if maybe it's a good fit for you, someone on your team, or possibly your entire organization. Okay, so the first thing I want to share is the fact that we are starting our very first online cohort on February 12th. And again, it's an 8-week live online program. And we'll share more details on what the logistics are in just a little bit. But I'm just going to throw out there right up front that this is a really unique program. I'm going to go ahead and put out there one of a kind, because what we do is we combine this idea of this being facilitated by subject matter experts like Dr. William Ramey, and then the use of hands-on learning, creativity. So it is fully engaging. And even though it is like this online, it feels like you're in the room with each other because you actually get to hold material and play with material. One thing that we do is we send everyone who enrolls one of these Work Smart Advantage creativity kits. And inside this kit, it's, you can hear it there, lots of tools that we'll be using so that we are activating this idea of tactile learning. Will, do you have anything to say on that?
You know, Vaughn, I've seen it firsthand. I think two big things stick out to me is when you want to be able to bring people together in a community of learning. What you have set up with the creativity kits, the kits that they'll have, it's a way to be able to still engage in hands-on activities, albeit you're separated and you're online virtual, but you're going to be connected with the learning because you're going to have these tangible artifacts, tangible things in your hands to solidify some of those main points that we bring up during these workshops. And the second piece really is what I've done and found when I've been doing research, and I love to go to case studies. I love to go to academic research files. When you have experiential learning, where it's learning by doing, discussing, reflecting, and then as you have designed an actual artifact to take back with you, that retention of knowledge goes up upwards of 80%. And for me, that's what makes this program so value added, is that it's not a one and done. It is a hands-on learning experience that you're going to have with a community of people.
Yes, and it makes it engaging, right? It really gets people to be involved in their learning. And I know that this is the work you do too, having worked with you on several in-person events and seeing the tools that you bring as well, and being able to take that and bring it into this virtual environment is just, I mean, honestly, it's just gonna be really fun. So who is this not for? This is not for anyone who has anything against creativity and play. Let's just start there, right? So if you're against creativity and play, don't bother to show up. But if you understand that there could be value in bringing creativity and play into learning and development, this Leadership Canvas cohort might be the right place for you to develop your leadership skills or to bring in some people from your organization to develop their leadership skills. Okay, so we're talking a lot about creativity. So I have a creative activity for us. So part of that kit are my curiosity cards, a set of images that we use for a lot of the work we do. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull one card for you, Will, and one card for me. I'm going to ask us the question, what is one thing that you feel that people will benefit from this program? Okay, so what's one characteristics of this image that represents something something you think that will benefit the people coming out of this program? Okay, are you ready for your image?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Okay, here you go.
All right. So that to me, okay, so that's a grapefruit. And
Yes.
to me, the benefit that somebody will get from our program is uh, that refreshing feeling of being able to learn new skills, strengthen current skills, and shift your mindset. So you ever have that grapefruit where it's a little bit bitter, but at the end of it, that citrus taste, when I see this image, I get that refreshed feeling, that energy of having something healthy for me, something good for me. And I think those are tangible benefits that our participants are going to walk away from, is that feeling of learning, that refresh, that reset, and that doing something good for themselves as they develop into a leader.
I'm going to agree with that. And I'm going to say, not only do I think that's what people are going to get, that is what people have told us they get from this, right? That people really feel like, that they do get energized from this program, that they have more confidence in their leadership abilities, their ability to relate to other people in the cohort or in the group, as well as the people on their teams. Okay, so here is mine. Okay, this is from a vacation I took. This is like a little river. So when I look at this, one of the things we talk about for leadership development in general, and particularly a program like this, is the fact that what we're trying to do, and that we see in organizations, is that there's a lot of turnover, right? There's lack of retention, there's a lot of turnover. And what we know from our work is that turnover is often because there's not the development of leaders. So to me, this looks like that running river is your pipeline of leaders that are going to develop their skills to this program. And because there's that beautiful flow of running water, look at the beautiful forest you're building, right? Look at that lush organization of people who have been there clearly for years and years and years because of that pipeline of leadership.
Yeah, absolutely, Vaughn. I can see that as soon as you're describing that as that pipeline, that's something that we both experienced with this program is, new and emerging leaders and companies that are looking to grow and step into the future with their company. They need a pipeline. They need a bench. They need people who are going to step up and grow as the company is growing at the speed of business. And to see that with those trees and that the beauty of what that pipeline can be, I know this program is capable of delivering that.
Amazing. Okay. And I'm so glad you're on this journey with me. Okay, let me move to my next slide here. So this one talks about what Leadership Canvas is. The program is designed for, like we said before, not just your current leaders, but your aspiring leaders, because we truly believe that leadership development, even if you have an intern, right? Leadership should start at the very beginning. So really people are learning the same language as you move up in positions. And that's how you build that pipeline. So again, the program is designed for current aspiring leaders and is designed to elevate not just their skill set, but their mindset and their behaviors through these practical and applicable trainings. So we teach framework, leadership framework, we teach leadership skill sets, but then we talk about how are you going to make it your own? Yeah. Anything on that, Will?
Yeah, and that's something too, Vaughn, is that the work that we've put together, the programs that we've put together here are rooted in experience, but they're also rooted in research. But they're not so rigid to where you can't take the skills, take the mindset, and adapt it to be authentic in how you want to lead. And that's something that's important that I think people who are interested in participating need to know, is that you're not going to get a prescriptive list of 10 things. Do this, do this, do this, do this. You're going to get the understanding of these concepts and how they apply, and the space to apply them how you see fit, how they work, and what feels right and is best for you and your team.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. And we've touched on this a little bit, this idea of one of the reasons this program is so unique is that unique application of creative integration, bringing in different methodologies so people aren't just learning by listening to us talk, because who wants that, right? We're going to be doing hands-on learning, tactile learning, group discussions in the whole group, small group discussions, making creative artifacts, and using these tactile tools. And like we said, everyone's going to get one of these creativity kits sent to them. I always put it in a different box and also put a note on it that says, do not open until we meet, just to keep the surprise. But I've had some people admit to me that they've took a razor blade and opened it up and then resealed it.
They just couldn't contain themselves.
They could not wait. And you know what? Honestly, I would probably be that same person. So I can't take that against them. Okay. So anything else on this wheel that you want? I mean, I think it's so much part of our world and what we do every day that I just throw it out there and think people get it. But in talking to people, it's just such a new idea for most people. This idea of integrating creativity into the work we do, into leadership and leadership development. Oftentimes in companies, when we talk about creativity and play, what that means is, oh yes, of course we do that. Like after work, we're going bowling. Right? Oh yeah, we do that. We have a pinball table in our office, but that's not what we're talking about. We're literally talking about like using these creative tools in the work you do for a learning purpose.
Yeah, Vaughn, I'm going to put you on the spot and ask you here. You know, you've got an extensive background, experience in industry, and experience with wandering and wondering about how creativity kind of fits into things. Can you talk a little bit about how you see the difference between learning experiences that you've been through and the learning experience that people will go through using the creative integration application in Leadership Canvas?
Well, honestly, absolutely, because the reason I started this business and the reason I just developed this concept of creative integration is because I work for several large organizations in their training, in the training departments. And it was, here's a binder, stand in front of people, read it, ask them a question, have them get into small groups and discuss, and then bring them back for the next part. And it was so ineffective, right? It was so ineffective. No one was engaged. It was clearly this idea of like just checking off the box to say we develop our leaders. I didn't get much out of it as a leader, as a trainer. And when I was going through it myself, training myself, I didn't get much out of it either. And I knew there had to be a better way. And for me, it was this idea that the way creativity served me in my personal life and brought so much more joy in my life. And really, there were so many aha moments in me just taking time in my personal life to be creative. So many ideas came to me, like fresh new ideas, innovative ideas I would have never thought of if I were just sitting in front of my computer all day long. So that was sort of my impetus for creating this idea of creative integration, bringing creativity into the workplace and into the work we do. So the difference, like, how can I even explain it if it's like black and white and full color, right? Where you get a group of people, and oftentimes perfect strangers, which is what this cohort will be, is people from all different industries and intersections. What creativity does and play does, it allows a bunch of people that you may or may not even know each other to get to know each other and be willing to share and play and create together very quickly. And it builds a special and a unique connection.
Yeah, I love that explanation. And I know a bit about your backstory, and I think it's important for people to hear that. How you came upon this creative integration methodology. And when you said it perfectly, the image in my head was Dorothy in Kansas pre-tornado, and then landing in Oz with the full color. And that to me is a huge difference from your typical binder, read this, discuss this, or sit in front of this, do this module online, click, 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 versus an interactive, engaging, hands-on experience that people will get.
Yeah. I guess a good question maybe to ask people to think about as they're listening is like, when was the last time you saw a room full of your peers light up when you said we're going to do learning and we're going to do a leadership development course, right?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, oftentimes we're like, oh, not again. But what I found, particularly for the programs we do where we go in multiple times a year, is that people walk in on the first and go like, here we are again. But then they walk in, they see the Lego on the table, they see the markers on the table, the Play-Doh, whatever it is. And they're like, okay, this could be different. And then the next time they want to come in, they're excited to be there. And it still is a shock to me, honestly. It's still a shock to me when I hear from clients like, I fly in 4 times a year for this. And I can't wait. I told my husband about it. My kids are excited about it. They always want to know what I learned when I came home. Like, and this is really something that I'm truly proud of. Really, this idea that the things we're teaching helps people in their professional world and as leaders in the workplace, but also helps them connect with their family members at home.
Yeah, that's it, Vaughn. I mean, that's a couple key points that you hit on there too. And I've experienced that with my workshop with Lego Serious Play. People think that they're just there on the breaks, and then they get their hands in, they start playing. They say, "Well, are we going to use these today?" And I say, "Yes." And it just, they start laughing and smiles come up because you have that purposeful play, and it helps bring down so many barriers and open people up in a way that you just can't do through typical small group discussion, lecture or that style learning. The second piece, I actually lost the second piece that I was going to say. Anyhow, we'll come back to it. I think the second piece really is the importance of understanding, being able to connect through people, and how this development doesn't impact you just at work. People are people. Human beings are human beings. So if you're looking to develop skill sets and emotional intelligence and collaboration and support, that translates into your family life, your friend life. These are skill sets. Now we're packaging us and marketing this, focusing on people in a work setting. But the secondary effects of this that you'll be able to pick up and learn and share with others is it's gonna help you get to where you want to go in life.
That's right. If you look on our website for Leadership Canvas Cohort, there's testimonials at the end. And there's a testimonial by a gentleman named Greg who went through a training within his company. And when we did this, testimonial video, I was so shocked when he said, there's so much that he said, like, Leadership Canvas was a revelation. And he said the one thing that he got out, one of the main things he got out of it was the idea of self-awareness and empathy. Yeah. Right? The connection he had to the other people who were part of it. And that connection and the empathy he built for them, has now spread to other people in his organization. And so rather than being just that leader who does and checks in with people in terms of like, are you getting your work done? He now has that muscle of empathy.
Yeah, and that's going to go with him wherever he goes. Through his career, whoever he connects with, it's a skill set he'll be able to practice and apply. You don't hang it up when you check in and out of work. It goes with you. Right.
Absolutely. Okay, let's see what I've got on the next slide here. All right. Okay, so let's get more into the logistics of what you get in this cohort besides Will and I just talking and some Legos.
It's a fun conversation.
So starting this, again, is an 8-week program. Our first cohort starts February 12th and is designed into 2 8-week programs, Program 1 and Program 2, which we'll talk about in the next slides. But basically for each 8-week program, you're getting 4 90-minute live building block sessions. This is not a digital course. This is Will, myself, other facilitators meeting with you live online and doing a 90-minute building block session. And that's every other week for 8 weeks. In the in-between weeks, there are 4 60-minute live roundtable discussions. And that's an opportunity to take what you learned. And again, we talked about this, not only skill set, but mindset and behavior. It's really to give you that week to utilize some of the framework, the tools, and then come back and talk about how that worked for you and hear the other stories in the room too. We do have a learning management system. Again, a lot of this, really the tactile stuff helps people retain the information, but we also know there has to be something more. So each of the building blocks has other information you can pull off from the learning management system to learn more about that subject. And then we want to make this a community too. So we're going to start a Slack channel where everyone who goes through this program from February 12th to whenever, years forward, can be a part of that Slack channel. So when you are leading a team, when you are having some challenges or trying to vet an opportunity, you can go on there and ask questions or share ideas. And then, of course, as we mentioned, the creativity kit. You'll get that creativity kit in the mail so that you can, I say, play along or build along or work along with us. And it is going to be as if we are in the room together. And then I added this. I don't know if you've seen this, but a completion certificate. At first, I literally was like, who am I to give anyone a certificate? But then I also thought, oh, I love getting certificates. I don't care who it's from.
That's right.
So you're going to get a certificate too. All right. So let's move into the building blocks. So the first 8 weeks, Leadership Canvas Program 1 is intentionally designed to help current and aspiring leaders improve their communication as a leader. So the very first opening session is called Get Out of Your Mindset Box, and it's based on a collaborator, Jimbo Clark's work on this idea of like your mindset box. Like we all wear this box around our head. It's invisible. So we always box around our head where we can't often see outside of that mindset. So we're going to be doing a condensed version of that. And because what we want to make sure people understand to begin with, again, their mindset is you can only achieve what you believe you can achieve. So we're going to help you get out of your mindset box and look at yourself and create a vision for yourself as a leader. Then we're going to move into developing trust. You want to talk a little bit about that one, Will?
Absolutely. So trust is a foundation. It is a fundamental element of connection and relationships when you're working with people, especially when you're in a leadership position. It's being able to challenge the status quo and encourage innovative thinking is something that you're going to want to be able to do. And to do that, you've got to have trust. And in this session, we get into fundamentals like understanding and being able to create a psychologically safe environment so people feel comfortable taking risks. They feel comfortable creating something new. They feel comfortable trying things and learning from their failures with that growth mindset. So this is going to be the spot where you're going to be able to start to apply and understand the foundations of building that connection with your team and building trust so that you can show your confidence, your competence, and have that feeling of cohesion start to form.
Absolutely. Trust is so important. And we use a framework that makes it easy to understand how to actionably develop trust, right? I think there's a lot of talk about trust in the workplace, but then you're all left off to like, well, how do I do that? What do I do? So we're going to share with you some tools and techniques to put action to those words. All right. So this one I love. Get confident having difficult conversations. And oftentimes when I facilitate this workshop, I will start with asking people like, who is born knowing how to have difficult conversations? Right. And of course, no one raises their hand. Yeah. And oftentimes, many of us are not just born not knowing, but they're encouraged to not have difficult conversations, right? Encouraged to avoid these difficult conversations. So it's no wonder that we get into adulthood, into the work environment, and we don't know how to do it. Yet we're expected to know how to do it. So this, again, every one of these workshops, we're going to work on mindset first. Like, what is your mindset around difficult conversations? What if you can look at it as an opportunity rather than in a negative light? And then again, we teach a framework on how to have these difficult conversations, an opportunity to practice, and then literally you leave with a framework, tools that you can apply. But just like we talked about before, this isn't about giving you action steps that we're like, okay, here's your playbook, now go do it. It's about making it your own, right? So here's the framework that we suggest. Here's the tools from this framework. Now, maybe just take one of those tools and your next difficult conversation, apply one of them. These small steps to change. We're not asking people to change overnight. Okay, so and then the next one, to create accountability with emotional intelligence. I know we have JT Hegling coming in to facilitate that, but do you have some thoughts on the importance of emotional intelligence in communication?
Yeah, and time again, research has shown that the emotionally intelligent leaders outperform those who are not. So being able to tap into your self-awareness, your awareness of others, what this building block is going to be able to help you do then is to use that to create an atmosphere of accountability where people are going to understand and want to support each other and be able to operate with candor, knowing that they're able to identify the emotion that they're feeling, identify, the emotion of someone else. That creates truly a team that can have straight talk, that speaks candidly and is open and transparent, becomes accountable to one another, so that the outcomes you're looking for are easier to achieve.
Wonderful. Okay, so that closes out Leadership Canvas Program 1, intentionally designed to improve communication as a leader. And then Program 2 is designed for people to develop their own leadership style intentionally. I think as a leader, I didn't have this. So I just flustered around, like picking up things here and there, or not at all, right? Just making things up as I went along. But I think now, in hindsight, like, what if I had these tools, and what if I could say, I want to be a leader that inspires people, that teaches people, that helps other people become leaders, right? Really to create that vision for myself and identify a leader who wants everyone's voice to matter, right? So like if I could have identified that and then create a playbook, a strategy to get there, I think that would have been amazing to have. And that's what we're trying to give people here.
Yeah.
So, okay, so these are our specialties right here, Will. So I'll talk about the first one. So we teach a couple leadership styles that Will and I find very important. So for me, is this concept of being a creative leader. And a creative leader is someone who opens up room for people to share their ideas on a level playing field. And the reason why this is really important for me is many reasons in terms of workplace dynamics, but just as someone who grew up not really having a voice, not knowing how to share my ideas, not thinking that my ideas were important, it's now really important for me to help other people create an environment where all ideas in the room are heard. So some principles of creative leadership are all ideas matter. That the space for trust and psychological safety. And you're going to learn some of the principles and some actionable tools on how to start becoming a creative leader.
Yeah, that's, creativity and being able to have that creative thought as you're leading a team. It's like adding jet fuel to the rocket of innovation.
Yes, absolutely. It's we're moving away from this idea of like, I am the leader, I need to know everything, right? But I'm a creative leader and I want to hear from everyone because this is going to be our idea.
Yeah. And that blends right into the building block 2, Vaughn, is that shared leadership, delegation and empowerment. Shared leadership is something that I have learned, experienced, and researched firsthand. Leadership's not title. It's not hierarchy. It's not organizational chart. Everyone has the capacity to be a leader. And the idea of you can still have formal team leaders and share leadership within a team. It's being able to tap into your team's capacity to lead, their expertise, their experience, their skill set, and allow leadership to ebb and flow within the members of your team based on what the situation calls for. I saw this firsthand experience leading a team with shared leadership when I led maintenance recovery teams in Iraq when I was deployed as an officer with the U.S. Army. We had a wide variety. Think of a team at work. Our team was a wide variety of specialty skills: welders, recovery specialists, heavy equipment operators, crane operators. No one person had all the requisite skill sets. Me as the team leader, I didn't have any of the requisite skill sets, but I was labeled team leader. So I had to learn to lead differently by empowerment, by delegation, by autonomy, giving my team space and the freedom to make the decisions within their left and right limits. You saw people step into leadership and you saw people step into followership based on what the situation dictates. And you're going to learn, more about this collaborative, collective approach to leadership. And what it's going to allow you to do is help you start to build your bench, give people opportunities to lead without being in formal leadership positions.
Yeah, as a leader, as thinking about like running a business and being a leader, when you say that, I'm like, that would be so refreshing, right? That would take so much pressure off of the positional leader and spread out that responsibility. And people want responsibility, right? People want to know that their voice matters, that their ideas matter, that they have some empowerment. So I love that concept of shared leadership. So if nothing else with this program, if we can give people some tools of creative leadership, some tools of shared leadership, I think that could change a lot for people just in those 2 sessions.
Oh, 100%. It gets them out of the industrial age of leadership, which is what they may have learned and saw as they were coming up through, and it gives them a sense of how to lead teams in the future of work, which is here. The future of work is here. People want.
Right. We are in the future of work for sure.
Yes.
Which leads us to the next one: creating environments of belonging. There's so much conversation around this right now. So we're talking about belonging for everyone. And when you and I talked about this particular one, we're talking about not just, all sorts of diversity, including diversity of age, right? We're in a place right now where you can be working with I don't know what's the youngest thing right now, Gen Z?
Yeah.
Boomer, and there's such a span and a gap between how these 2 generations communicate, need to be managed and led, and how do you create that as a leader so that you are you're able to lead those endpoints and everything in between. And I think that is an important skill that's very unique to this time right now that we're really going to need to adapt to, because we can't ignore either.
Absolutely. People are staying in the workforce longer, which means you're having multiple generations that are working together in a team. And it's no longer can you approach work with, I'll just wait my turn, or, I'll just wait for that person to retire, and then I'll step up, because work is becoming more team centric. There's more matrices type organizations. So you're having this conglomeration of people who think differently and see the world differently. So how do you still have that sense of team and create that sense of I belong with this team, with so much difference between what people want from their work and what they're bringing to the table? And belonging is the thread that ties people together. When people see they are heard and they're valued and they're connected, and they see a sense of collection, a shared belief in why we're here. Now you're creating that setting where people want to come in, contribute their best, help each other out. And that really is something very special to do, again, which is different from that top-down approach of positional directive leadership.
Yeah. And one way to do that, honestly, is a simple act of creating environments and opportunities for people. And you said the word connect, right? One example of that is I did a workshop one time, and there was this gentleman who was, young in his early 20s, and we did this exercise where we use cards, and I asked them pick a card that represents something about you outside the work you do, and then we stood in a circle and shared. And when he shared his card, it was a car, and he said, I like to restore classic cars. And this woman, who is clearly a boomer, right, raised her hand. She's like, I do too. And it was just that connection where they may not have found anywhere else, or they may have never found an opportunity to make that connection or have that conversation unless a leader created that opportunity for them. And I guarantee you the next time, he or she gets the email from each other, it's going to probably be responded to quicker than it would have before if they hadn't had that connection.
Sure.
Okay, so the last thing we leave with in the program 2 is this idea of what's your leadership legacy going to be? So really being able to visualize what you want your leadership legacy to be, and then taking away all these tools we've gone through this program and designing that. And we do have a guest speaker for this one. There will be other guest speakers throughout, particularly through some of the 60-minute roundtable discussions. But for this one, I've lined up Scott Rathke, retired Navy SEAL commander, to come speak on this. And the reason I did is because Scott's a friend of mine. I have heard him speak in several occasions about leadership, particularly the legacy of leadership. And he's such a powerful speaker that I wanted him to be a part of this. I don't know if you want to speak on that at all, Will?
I've seen it. I think having Scott, someone from the military, really can help people understand the essence of how do you have a team outlast you in a formal leadership position, because we're trying to get people with skill sets now, but how you act, how you treat people, how you lead your team is going to last well beyond your physical presence there. And I think Scott's going to bring just a great perspective of purpose and value and vision alignment in how you want to lead and live your life.
Absolutely. And I think that's something that we maybe kind of skipped over a bit in terms of describing the differentiator for Leadership Canvas. One of the things I value so much about Leadership Canvas and my ability to bring this to people is these relationships, like this relationship with Dr. Will Ramey, who I met on LinkedIn, right? These other leaders and facilitators who I've been able to connect with over the last 10 years doing this, who bring so much value with the work they do. And now I get to put it all together in this Leadership Canvas cohort and bring people in. I joke about this, it's a little bit of joke, a little bit real. But when I first started my business 9-10 years ago, it was, I'll do anything, right? Oh, you need me to teach a class on taxes? Sure. Let me Google that and figure it out. Not really, because no one ever wants to be touching their taxes. But in that similar vein of like, oh yeah, I'll do that. But as I went on, I realized the best way to serve our clients is to give them the best of the best. And that's what I feel like we've gathered here in this Leadership Canvas program over the years is I know I can teach creative leadership on a world-class level. Now, who can I get to teach shared leadership on a world-class level? That's Will Ramey, right? Who can I get to talk about emotional intelligence on a world-class level? That's JT. Right. And to be able to pull these people in and I guess expose them and expose other people to them is really one of the truest gifts of being able to pull this cohort together.
Yeah, and that's something, Vaughn, that's truly special is with you. I've seen it, I've experienced it. You are a connector of people, and the ability to amplify that comes out in the service to the clients and the people that are going to participate in this cohort, is because they're not just tapping into your expertise or my expertise. They're tapping into the expert, the best person to talk about this subject. So they're getting exposure to the best of the best versus someone else or somewhere else who's trying to be a jack of all trades and a master of none, which may be good, but we want more than good for our cohort. We want more than good for our Leadership Canvas community. We want the best, and that's what you've been able to pull together.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. Well, I'm even more excited about this. So this is our first cohort. Again, we've been bringing this very successfully into organizations who can invest in training 30 people at one time. But what we realize is like we're missing out, right? We're missing out on getting the people who their companies may not be prepared to bring us in full, in for a full training of 20 to 30 people, but they may have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people that it can send to this training. And then those people can go back and share what they learned and bring more people in. So this is the ground floor, Leadership Canvas cohort. The very first cohort is starting February 12th. And if you want to learn more, just go to the website, scan that QR code. And we are doing a 15% early bird discount through the end of this week, the 10th, with the code I don't remember what it is. Oh, it's early bird 15. Early bird 15. Yes.
Bird 15.
Of course, I'm like, oh, let me make it something I can remember, and then I don't remember it.
Yeah. Early bird. Yeah. I know my specialty, but early bird 15. Early bird 15.
Early bird 15.
Yeah.
All right. And also, clearly, if you're watching this on LinkedIn, you can reach out to either Will or myself, and we can answer any questions you have. Thanks for being here. Bye, Will.